Welcome to Backstage 421, the musicians only podcast, with your host, author, and music lover, Charles Campbell. Charles will have an awesome array of guests from many genres of music, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. By the way, Ray Mattis is the composer of this awesome intro music.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Backstage 421, the musicians only podcast. If I could speak today. Today we have a very special guest. He's been on the show a couple of times, and glad to have him back so we can chat up music and maybe a little horror. But welcome back to the show, Ray Mattis.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So it's been a while since we've spoken on the podcast. So why don't you bring my audience up to speed, maybe for some of those who haven't seen you before. Kind of give us a brief overview of your background and how you got into the music business, and then we'll have a chat.
All right. I got into the music business. Well, my background, I got into music at a young age. Let me start there first. I got into music at a young age, which started with a Duran Duran poster and my older cousins fawning over the guys in Duran Duran. And it got me curious what the big deal was. So for Christmas that year, to make a long story short, I asked for a Duran Duran tape, and that turned me on to Duran Duran. Well, I didn't have cable at the time, so when I finally got MTV and saw MTV, that really opened me up to other kinds of music, and I got into a band when I was in high school, played guitar in that band, and I was the guy who bought most of the equipment. So I had all the recording equipment, I had all the amps, and when the band broke up, I was stuck with all this equipment. And I figured, well, let me try and do something with it. So I taught myself how to play bass, taught myself how to play keyboard, and one day I was always a big horror movie fan, and one day I got to thinking, it'd be pretty interesting if I wrote horror music but put it over a hip-hop beat. And I did that, and it kind of caught on with me, and I started writing horror music over different beats and stuff like that. Well, I go to a convention out in Cleveland called Cinema Wasteland, and I'm out there, and this very, very, very excited young man came running up to me with a DVD, and he's like, "Boy, have I got a deal for you." And he started rambling, and turned out to be one Henrik Coutel. And I got the movie from him, and I took it home, watched it, liked it, and went out to Cinema Wasteland again the following year, only to see him. And I thought, this guy's a local filmmaker. Maybe I got something there. So I bought my CD out, and I put my name on it, and I gave him my phone number, my email address, and said basically, "Listen, man, I want to do music, and I want to do music for movies. I want to do music for film. Can you help me out?" And he said, "Well, we'll see." Gave it a listen, obviously liked it, reached out to me through email, and said, "You want to get your feet wet and do music for a short of mine on YouTube?" And the short was, I believe it was Staring. That was so long ago. I believe it was Staring. Yeah, and I did the music for a short, and he really liked that, and before you know it, he offered me my first feature film, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, the Stirring, that was a Christmas episode, if I remember right. Yeah, I remember watching that. And Ray actually did the intro music for this very podcast, so you hear his name in every intro, so thank you for that. You did a fantastic job.
Oh, you're welcome. It was my pleasure.
So you sent me a little video of a song you worked on called "Sweet Sorrow." I listened to it a few times. It does make you feel a little melancholy. So tell me about that song and how it came to pass and how you put it together.
Okay, how I put that together was at my job, of all places. Yeah. When it gets slow at my job, I write music in my head, and I was at my job, and I found out that three of my coworkers who I really, really enjoyed working with were all leaving and moving on to greener pastures. and they were all doing it within weeks of one another. And I went home and I wrote the opening guitar line. I actually wrote it at work in my head.
Yeah.
Went home, played it on my guitar, and was like, "Yeah, that sounds kind of sad yet hopeful." And that's what I kind of wanted it to be, sad but a bit hopeful, because they were moving on to greener pastures. Hence, such sweet sorrow. I was sad to see them go, but really happy that
Yeah.
they had something on the horizon, and that's how that song started.
Well, nice. Well, it's been a minute since we've talked to you. What have you been up to over the last year or so? What's been musically, or have you been working on any film projects? Just what's been going on in the life of Ray Mattis over the last year or so?
My own music. I've been doing my own music for myself the last year. There hasn't been too many films. However, I do have a film on the horizon. Henrik will be sending me one, Babe Mansion, to do the music for. So I will be doing that shortly. Can't wait for that. But comedies are tough. Comedies are tougher than any other genre. But I digress. I've been mostly doing music for myself. I did a collection of songs called Galaxy Queen. Now, that originally was an LP, a full-length album that we talked about on your last episode.
I remember.
But there was just tracks that didn't sit well with me, that I didn't like how they were mixed. And that's a problem with me. A lot of times I write music and it just doesn't quite sound like what I hear in my head, and that bugs the ever-loving out of me. So yeah, I corrected Galaxy Queen and put the 5 of my favorite songs that stuck well and have sat with me and were closest to what I imagined. So if you want to listen to a collection of songs, it's only 15 minutes. Yeah, search my name on YouTube and Galaxy Queen, and you'll find it.
Oh, nice. Well, you said you were possibly are going to work on something for a comedy for Henrik, so that sounds pretty exciting. What is out there that you may want to try next as a creator? Within the music realm, or even if you want to expand beyond that, what are some of the things you want to explore? Because you're a very, very talented musician, and I really want to know. I really want to know where your brain is and what you see in your future. Of what sort of projects are you looking to work on?
Okay, the 2 big ones that I have. I'm doing a collection of songs that are slow jams. I haven't done a slow jam before, so it's kind of slow, a little psychedelic. I've only have one song. I'm shooting for about 5. I only have one song that's near completion, but I hit writer's block with it, so I'm stuck. I need an interlude for this, and I'm having trouble writing one. So I have that, and I was telling you how I got into music at a young age and was in a band and everything, and the band broke up. And when I got out of college, I met a musician named Ryan Bedino. And he really opened my eyes up to like music theory and writing and recording in different time signatures. So recently I got in touch with him again, and he sent me a track and wants me to put some drums and bass on it. But he's such a damn talented musician that it's so darn tough to do it. But I'm working on it. So that's what I have on the horizon. A collection of slow jams and me working with another guy, one of the best musicians I've ever worked with.
Oh, wow. Well, that sounds like a great collaboration. Or when you say you're struggling with it a little bit, is it an intimidation factor? Is it a creative factor?
It's a creative factor. Ryan likes to jump time signatures. So the verse is in a 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop, boom, bop, boom, boom, bop. But then he has a chorus that's in a 6/4 and an interlude that's in a 5/4, and it changes time signatures. And it's like, wow, yeah, that's tough. That's really tough to do.
Oh man, blowing your Well, hey, it's pushing you though.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's making me a better musician. I've been working on it for the better part of 2 or 3 months now, but I'm working on it.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm going to slip into the horror side of this for a few minutes. It's been a while since we spoke, so um, 2025 has been a really good year for horror films. Have you had a chance to check out anything new, anything that's come out? Is anything sticking out in your brain?
Yes, I'm going to see in a couple days Weapons.
Oh,
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that, and I'm really, really excited to check that out. Um, as for horror movies, I really haven't seen too many horror movies lately. I've been kind of more getting into TV and watching TV series. Believe it or not, I never, ever, ever watched the TV series Lost.
I haven't seen it, to tell
Yeah,
you the
I
truth.
haven't seen it either. And
Yeah.
my mom, of all people, was like, "Oh, have you ever seen Lost?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "I've heard nothing but good things about it. Do you want to watch it with me?" So now every week we get together and we go to McDonald's and watch Lost together. So yeah,
Oh,
that's the little mother and son thing that we got going on.
that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, I watched the series on Netflix Wednesday like 3 years ago, and I enjoyed it. But 3 years have passed, and I kind of lost interest, so I wasn't in a big rush to watch it when it was just released. I'm like, this is supposed to be the summer after the last season, but it's 3 years later, so
Right,
okay,
right.
whatever. TV series aren't like they used to be back in the olden days when they were like 23 episodes and they came at the same time every year, and you'd have to wait 2 or 3 years for it to come back. Things are now they're like 8 or 10 episodes if you're lucky, and at least 2 years before the next season comes out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
It's crazy stuff. So I see you got the Thing shirt on. Now
Yes.
that's cool. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yep, that is my favorite horror movie of all time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we covered that water the last time we spoke, but I know that you had a lot of influences in horror,
Hmm.
and there are some films that really stand out to you.
Yes.
But let's revisit The Thing for a second because I thought John Carpenter did such a great job with that film. He is he's on the Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yep. Yep.
But what was your take of the movie? You know, it was a remake of another movie in the 50s. But what was your take of that film, specifically the ending? Because I love the ambiguity at the end where they really were like just looking at each other and, do you think one of them had turned or do you think they
Yes,
were
I
both
do.
human?
Yes,
All
I
right,
do.
let's get into that.
Okay. Well, which would you like me to address first? Do you want me to address the ending first?
Um, you pick. You pick. We'll make it a thing discussion for just a moment.
Well, I absolutely love the movie. My take on it, this is a controversial take.
Okay.
Okay, controversial. I'm not saying that this was purposely done and this was purposely the metaphor, but I found it very interesting when that movie came out. The AIDS virus had just hit the news and nobody really knew too much about it. But all we knew was that there was a blood serum test that you could take and anybody out there could have it and be one of those things. So it kind of hit like kind of hit home. You know what I mean? It was a product of my surroundings, so to speak. Number one. Number two, I absolutely love the music in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Ennio Morricone did a fantastic job with the music in that movie. And third, I think Childs was the thing at the end because he was the only one that was not breathing out vapor. If you watch the movie, Kurt Russell, when he exhales, he breathes out vapor, but Childs never does.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I've seen that movie a lot. I've never picked that up.
yeah, no.
Wow, that's interesting. Oh man, Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go check that out for sure. Now, I can't remember if you're much of a reader um, from our previous conversations, but do you have a stack of literature you like to refer to get your creative juices flowing? Is there something you like to are there particular authors you like to read, or is there a specific type of genre you love to read?
Horror genres. I especially like short stories and books that are anthologies of short stories. They're my absolute favorite. So when I was a kid, Stephen King's Skeleton Crew was huge, and I was a big Clive Barker fan. So yeah, those were the two biggies.
Well, did you get a chance to see The Monkey?
No, I haven't, but I want to check it out. Is it any good?
Yeah, yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Okay,
It's
cool,
pretty
cool,
good.
cool, cool.
They had a prop that AMC offered, and I'm staring at it. I kind of want to go grab it, but I think I will.
Yeah, go for it.
Audience, be patient with me for 1 second. So I know that was a long pause, but AMC Theaters had a special popcorn bucket that they were selling, and I don't have an AMC Theater around me, so I went online and I picked this guy up.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, this even if the movie sucked, this is really cool. So
Cool, yeah, yeah.
he's
That's
got a
really cool.
he's got a prominent position in the office. So just as long as I don't hear him in the middle of the night, we're good.
Right, right.
Oh man. So if you had your dithers and you had kind of an an endless uh, an endless outlet of creativity. If there was something that you would love to work on that you haven't had a chance to sink your teeth into, this is blue sky scenarios. What would Ray Mattis like to do? What would be your ultimate goal in music, in filmmaking, in whatever you like to do? I would assume music, but what are some of your pie in the sky aspirations as a musician?
Wow, that is a great question. That is a great, great question. Um, I would love to do a television series. I would love to have my own theme song on a television series that everybody remembers. Um, that, but that's that's way up there, like you said. Goals and aspirations, but like, yeah, definitely television. Um, I was a big Tales from the Crypt fan.
Yeah.
So I would love to do a television show that's actually a horror, that's in the horror genre.
Well, that weekly spooky intro, that was it for a lot of people. I mean, you kind of have that a little bit
Yeah, thank you.
with a pretty decent following. So, uh, yeah, that was an amazing intro, and I remember you told me the back and forth you had with Henrik over
Yeah,
when you were working on it.
yeah.
But to some of the audience who maybe didn't hear those episodes, let's re-travel that road a little bit. When you put that together, what was the dynamic between you and Henrik, and how did you come up with the final excellent piece that turned into the weekly spooky intro?
Well, first off, thank you for the compliment with Weekly Spooky. That's one of my favorite things that I've done. It's one of the few things that came out exactly like I heard it in my head. Well, he approached me with this, idea for Weekly Spooky, and he wanted me to do the theme song for it. But he didn't give me too much direction on the theme song, just that it was a horror thing and go with it. So no problem, no problem. So the first thing that I came up with sounded completely different than Weekly Spooky. It had really sparse percussion in it and swells, and it was more atmospheric than melodic. A lot of string swells, And I gave it to him. And he was like, yeah, that's good and all, but that's not quite what I was looking for. I need something campier, something like Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt. And when he said Tales from the Crypt, the light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, okay, I got this. And I picked my guitar up and I came up with the main riff and was like, oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. And when I first laid it down, that main riff that you hear was done on a wah pedal. So it was like, wow, 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 wow. And nope, did not fit. And I knew it from Jump Street. As soon as I heard it, I was like, no. So I deleted the whole track and went back and re-recorded it with what you hear now. Pianos and the eerie strings and everything. And yeah, that just turned out exactly how I heard it in my head. So I'm really proud of that.
It's so good and it's so recognizable. And the way that podcast has grown over the years is incredible. I mean, it's crazy to see how many authors he has contributing to that now. And your work has been a big part of getting listeners because the intro is catchy.
Yeah,
It's catchy enough that it sticks in your head. It's like an earworm. So in a good way. So I enjoy hearing it every time it comes on.
Thank you.
So I ask this of authors and creative people all the time on this podcast, and I may have asked you this in the past, but living or dead, who would be the one talent that you would love to collaborate or work with?
John Carpenter. Bar none, John Carpenter. That man got me into horror music. When I was a little kid, I snuck downstairs in my rec room to watch Halloween, and the score alone in that movie terrified the ever-loving hell out of me. And everything that man has done, I loved his score for, so he would be the one guy that I would kill to work with.
Well, what would you do if you were to work with John Carpenter? It's going to probably get a little technical, and I'm not that technical in music. I know what I like, and I like what I know. But if you were sitting in a room with John Carpenter right now, what would be some of the, maybe the top 2 or 3 questions you would ask him to pick his brain? If that's not too difficult a question. I know that was kind of on the spot, and you got to think about it for a second.
Yeah, let me think about that one for a minute. I would ask him if he writes the music out on a piece of paper and then plays it, or does he come up with the riffs first and then write it out on paper, or does he even not write it on paper and just everything is, comes from his noggin? I would ask him that. I would ask him where the hell he gets his tones from, because some of the tones that man uses in his movies I absolutely love. So there would be a lot of equipment questions, like what kind of equipment you're using. Yeah. And probably when he's writing scary music, does he have a favorite mode to write in, or or a favorite key? Yeah, that's probably what I would ask him. Does he just stick with minor keys when he's doing horror music, or does he mix it up and not to get technical, but Mixolydian or any other kind of mode? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not technical enough to know the inside jargon that you guys have when you're creating soundtracks and that kind of thing. I know what sounds good, and I know what doesn't sound good to me. But all of you guys who work on movies and TV shows and that kind of thing. It takes a special kind of talent and wherewithal and patience, I would assume, to get those things out by a particular deadline. Say, for example, you're working on a movie and you worked on the first Western you've ever done not that long ago. And we talked about that on the last podcast.
Yeah.
But your prep work for that, how does it differ from something like, Henrik asking you to score a Babysitter Massacre or a horror film versus a gunslinging, old-fashioned, cowboy Western?
Yeah, the prep work was a lot for Jesse James Unchained, because I was so used to writing horror music. And when I write horror music, I usually write it in a minor key. I'll either do a minor key or what's called a mixolydian key. Those are usually the two that I do. So when the Western came around, I had no idea from a theory standpoint how to compose that. No idea. So I actually watched a YouTube video by a guy who does this thing called Signals Music Studio. And he talks about music theory. And through him, I kind of got the theory down for Jesse James. And then went over and grabbed my guitar and picked it up, and the rest, as they say, is history. But with horror music, I know that like the back of my hand. I've been doing it for so long now that it's almost second nature for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're a Western fan. I don't know if I could say I was a Western fan, but I liked a lot of Western movies as a kid. I loved the Clint Eastwood spaghetti Westerns.
Yeah.
I loved the, up through the 80s, some of the more modern ones like the Young Guns series. There was 2 movies, Young Guns 1 and 2. Loved the music in those.
Yeah.
Tombstone. Yeah. So I was wondering, did you go back, not to compare your score and Jesse James Unchained to any of those films, because it is different, but did you go back and watch any Westerns at all to try to get a feel, to get your mind in that mood, or did you just like what you said?
Yes, I watched Sergio Leone's Dollar Trilogy. So, Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I've got them on my shelf over there.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yep. So those were the big 3 that I watched, and those were the big 3 that kind of influenced the tone of the score. If you notice with towards the end, the horns come in and out with it. And that was something that I noticed Ennio Morricone would do. He would bring the horns in, and it would be really loud and epic, and then go down and quiet, and then loud and epic, and then quiet, and I love that dynamic.
Yeah, it plays hell on my television when I watch it. I'm doing this with the remote, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, well that's pretty cool. It's good to see that you've stretched outside of a single genre. And I believe you did some comedy work too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you work on any of Henrik's comedy films? He had a couple out there. I haven't seen all of those, so I don't know what you've worked on in the comedies.
The only comedy that I worked on was real early in my career, and it wasn't a Henrik directed movie. I think, but don't quote me on this, folks. I think he produced it, and that was Horn Dog's Beach Party.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know he's got a couple of comedies out there. Awkward Thanksgiving, I would call that like a drama kind of dramedy.
Dramedy, yeah. There you go.
And he had one about a bulldog.
Bulldog for Christmas, I think.
I watched that one day around holiday time, but can't remember much about the score. But yeah. So if if you had your druthers and you were, you've worked with Henrik a lot on horror films, but if you had your own project that you had to supervise, and it doesn't have to be horror, but horror may be your lane, what type of movie would you like to produce and like be in charge of, from the, hiring a director and you would do the music? What type of movie would Ray Mattis be a producer of and push the envelope with?
A sci-fi movie, especially if it's sci-fi that mixes with horror. I love when those two genres cross over, and it's fun music to write. It's really fun music to write because you get the creepy horror movie stuff, but then you get the wonderful epic space music as well. So sorry about that. We got canceled. You there? I got
Yeah, no worries, no worries. If mine continued, you dropped for a second.
yeah.
But you know what? The power of editing is I can splice that little part out.
There you go.
So we're continuing to record, so you're good.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so sci-fi with a mixture of horror. I absolutely love the two genres. I would love to do a project with that, from, like you said, supervising, hiring the director, the cast, the crew, the whole nine yards. Yep.
what about the screenplay? Would you take a crack at that, or would you? Is that something you'd ever thought about doing?
I
something like that?
actually wrote one screenplay before. Yeah, so that's something I did think about doing. Yeah, yeah. But I don't know if I would do the screenplay this time around. I would probably hire somebody. I know a couple good authors out there that I'm pretty close with.
Well, that's pretty cool. I've never taken a crack at a screenplay. All of my stuff is horror fiction, and it's in novel format. Screenplays, I don't know. Maybe I'll try one day. Maybe I'll try to create a screenplay out of one of my books. But
There you go.
it seems like a completely different animal to me when you're sitting down and looking at the structure.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I don't know how it works. How you can structure it to fit it in a 90-minute movie when it takes you about 5 or 6 hours to read this book.
Okay. Right.
I don't understand that, but greater minds than mine have nailed it. Well, Ray, is there anything else you want to promote? Anything you want to tell our listeners about? Anything you want to share? I know we talked about Sweet Sorrow. You want to tell them where we can find your stuff so we can get to it and check you out? How can we support Ray Mattis?
Okay, you can go to my YouTube page and just search Ray Mattis. That's Mattis, and my page will come up, and you can join. Like I said, I'm working on some slow jams, so in the next couple months, you'll have some more music to listen to. And I want to give a quick shout out to Brooke, Colin, Eddie, Kate, and Benji, and the other crew that work at TJ's and King of Prussia. You guys are the best. I appreciate y'all. And yeah, that's about that.
Well, nice, Ray. It was super nice catching up with you. Before we get off the air, we talked a couple of times about some of your crazy stories throughout your career. And you gave us a couple of really good, memorable ones, and I kind of don't want to rehash those, and I don't know how many you have. If you have another one to share, I would be more than happy to hear it. But we talked about the Easter Bunny, and we talked about what was the other one?
My ass.
Oh yeah, my ass with the tax. Yeah, we talked about that. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Listen to that over and over again. Is there another one in your brain somewhere? And if there's not, it's okay.
Yeah,
no. There was
nothing that compares to those other ones.
Oh, geez, those were so entertaining.
Yeah.
Man. Those were so entertaining. So if you're listening to this podcast and haven't heard those stories, you're going to have to go back and listen to the other episodes because those things were funny. I'm not going to make him say them again because he said one of them on both podcasts, so we're not going to do it again. But the my ass story is like one of the funniest damn things I've ever heard. So that should pique your curiosity to want to know what that's about.
Yeah.
So go back to last season or the season before and check out Ray's rendition of his awesome My Ass Story.
Yeah.
He has a pretty good Easter Bunny story too, but the ass story is golden. That would actually make a good little spot in some kind of movie.
Movie, right?
You need to talk to Henrik about that. Yeah, that needs to be a spot in a film. It can be a horror movie. It can be a comedy even. But that would be perfect. Even a skit show or something. That would freaking knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story. Well, Ray, thank you again for being on the show. My name is Charles Campbell. I'm a small-town horror author. My latest book is called Three Knocks. It's available right now at valleyboypublications.com along with all my other stuff. Ray, it's always, always, always awesome to talk to you, and I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today and giving us an update on where you are and what you're working on and what we can look forward to.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you again on Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. Peace.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Listener support links can be found below. Thank you for your support.